Welcome to Run With It, BC's only running fitness and health program. On this month's episode, I was in conversation with actress Karen Holness, who talked about her career and how she maintains a healthy lifestyle. But first, let's go to our Doctor's Corner segment. Joining me is Dr. Wayne He is a family physician, chronic pain expert, and author. And he's here today to talk about how we can use our mind and body to treat chronic pain. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Christine.
Oh, I'm so happy that you're here on Doctor's Corner. And when it comes to chronic pain, how long has it been around? Or what's the history behind it?
Well, chronic pain has been around, I think, as long as humans have been around. In fact, when I studied acupuncture about 20 years ago, there was this mummy found in the Alps in Austria, and it was dated back 5,000 years with acupuncture points on the body, which is truly remarkable because we think acupuncture came from China, but in fact it was probably used around the world. And the native people around the world understood that they can get pain relief by stimulating certain points in the body, like acupuncture points. And these were literally tattooed onto the person's skin, and we related that to acupuncture points. So it goes back a long way.
Tattooed. so how do you specialize differently from what you do?
Yeah, well, I'm a family physician and always had an interest with acupuncture and opened up my mind as I just went through my career. I've been a family physician for 19 years now. And several things changed the direction of my path. And one was into the study of the mind-body connection. And I always wondered why in medicine we look at things in parts, like if you've got a problem with your gallbladder or your liver or your brain, we look at these individual areas. And our specialists are doing that. But in the reality of chronic pain, it's not about different parts. It's not like you've got a sore back and that's where the problem is. It's related to the interconnectedness of the body, and the brain is literally feeding all these organs. And the brain is the main organ that controls the chronic pain state. But it's interesting, the history of it goes back to Descartes, a French philosopher 400 years ago. And he decided back then that modern medicine should be studied by dualistic theory, which means separating things into parts, like your brain and your liver, and looking at them and studying them and then learning. But the reality is, all these years later, modern medicine today is still doing the same. And it's sad because chronic pain needs to be a multi-system approach. You've got your brain, you've got your different organs, you've got the nervous system, and also the big new one that's more in the literature is the gut. And maybe another show we can talk about how the gut and your microbiome, or the bacteria in the gut, is literally influencing these organs in our brains as well. So massive history, very interesting. But I've just found myself helping people by explaining some of these things, and just the knowledge that, oh my goodness, I can change my pain is revolutionary for them. So I just encourage them and teach them and work with them as I go through my sessions with them on this subject of the mind-body connection.
Yes, we use our mind to improve in our running. And it's about teaching people to cope with chronic pain better, using the mind and body connection. So how do you do it? Like, what's the first step?
First step, with all patients, they're all unique, but I do an intake evaluation, and on the intake form I cover subjects like the biology or the biomechanics of the patient, also the psychology of the patient, the social history, and also the spiritual history, just because that's where it's important to them, and I can relate to different aspects of their history based on what they're saying. The second element of that is a brief pain inventory questionnaire, which really dives down deeper into the pain, where it is, how often, and how it affects them in their functional existence. And then I assess the mental health of the patient with depression and anxiety scores, and also a catastrophizing score, which is all to do with negative pain mindset. So you're having thoughts about pain, and we all have negative mindsets at some times, but in pain in particular, it's very easy to get lost in this mindset of pain. So these are my evaluations, and then I examine the patient, a focused clinical exam, which is very helpful, just picking up a few points to guide me towards the next step, which is to sit down like we're doing right now and just explain, look, this is what's going on, these are the factors, the mind-body connection, your past, your present, even your personality can add stress to our life sometimes and contribute to this programming of the brain. So, and then I move on from there and do my treatments.
Yeah, so tell us some techniques that you use.
So with the mind-body connection, there's kind of 5 basic things that I do. One is expressive writing, which there's been science behind that for 30, 40 years. I do a very simple advice tip of not talking about your pain, and I explain why. And then there's thinking, taking those negative thoughts and changing them and turning them towards neutral, away from the negative towards something more neutral or even positive, if that's possible. And then the 4th one is affirmations. Say a positive affirmation and repeat it many times. And you know, some people don't like this one because they feel, well, I'm not being honest with myself. But what I say to them is, look, it's not about the pain right now or next week. It's about your pain or your brain in 3 months' time. Because the reality is we will be different in 3 months. And if we, just like you're running, you know, you've got to practice, you've got to put in the effort. If you put that effort and time into saying positive affirmations, and I'm quite happy to share that with you if you want, it just literally trains the brain in the neural networking and sets up a new pathway, literally a new pathway for having less pain and a better quality of life. So it's the 4th, and my 5th is breathing.
Breathing.
And you know, I get into meditation as the weeks go on, but to very simply, for the first session, I just say, look, every hour of the day, or between activities, if you're very busy, maybe with children or working, just between activities, you pause.
Pause, okay.
And you just breathe consciously. You inhale through your nose slowly. Count to 5. And then exhale through your mouth slowly, count to 5. And just repeat that 3 times. And what happens in those moments is we're switching the nervous system from a sympathetic drive. We call it the pain response or the fight-flight response. I'm sure our audience has heard of the fight-flight response, but that's the sympathetic aspect of the nervous system. And when we can change that around with a simple, slow breath, we're swapping it over to the parasympathetic or the relaxation response or the healing response. And we literally feel better. You feel relaxed. And if you're doing this throughout the day, every day, then we're training your nervous system to be different. You're training your brain to be different. And over time, you literally take charge. And it's just like, are you going to be the backseat driver of the car, or are you going to be the front seat driver of the car? Right? You want to be on the front seat driving. So that's what we're doing with the mind-body connection treatments or cognitive behavioral therapy treatments. We're literally doing something ourselves every day, and we're owning it. And we're literally taking charge and moving forward.
And you know, what about journaling?
Journaling, yes. Journaling is something that can be done. There's kind of 2 ways to use expressive writing, and to summarize, one is to write your thoughts and feelings, and then to rip it up and put it in the garbage.
Oh.
And that's kind of cathartic type release, you know, get the thoughts from here onto paper and into the garbage. Very effective, making you feel good. But some of my patients do like to write, they like journal writing, so I encourage them to get a book, write it in every day, and you know, they can reflect on that later. But really, at the end of the day, it's not what you write, it's more that you do write. That's the number one thing. And if you are writing, then there's a plethora of different ways to write and to exercise this skill set. But the science shows, and there's over 1,000 articles in the literature now showing the health benefits of writing, not just reduction in pain, but also not just reduction in pain, but also, you know, less visits to the hospital, less visit to the doctors, less depression, less anxiety. So it's a very therapeutic, rather surprising tool that anybody can use in their toolbox. And for more information, the leader in the world on this subject is Dr. Jamie Pennybaker from Texas. And I've had the honor of talking to Jamie about his work and his over 4 decades now. So it's something I recommend for my patients.
That's wonderful. And what's the success been like?
Well, I think everybody who engages in the plan of cognitive behavioral therapy gets benefit. Now, the pain may not go away, but they start to get that hope, they start to get that, controlling their brain, and it's just inevitable over time that things will improve. I don't just treat with cognitive behavioral therapy, I treat with trigger point injections, I treat with nutrition advice, so it's kind of difficult to isolate, which one is working more than the other. I think they all help in different ways, but at the end of the day, it's a sure bet that their brain will change. And we've actually got studies showing that if you do certain, say, meditation exercises with listening to binaural beats, which is just a slightly different frequency of sound in both ears with headphones or earplugs, you literally train the brain to reduce pain. And we've proven that through pain catastrophizing scores going down. That's the negative thinking, literally goes down if you use this type of technique for 20 minutes a day. Also, the pain scores go down, say from an 8 to a 4 out of 10, for example. And the other amazing thing is when they do functional MRI scans, they can see that the brain enlarges, yes, enlarges in certain areas where the pain control is maybe less effective. So we're literally changing brain volume and we're changing brain structure at the same time.
You're so passionate about what you do, and I want to, if people want more information, where can they go?
Yes. Well, my website, WaynePhimister.com, that's WaynePhim for mother, ISTER.com. And it's got some information on this subject. Another great resource is backincontrol.com, written by my colleague, Dr. David Hanscom, previously in Seattle. He's got a wonderful website, and it's probably the best resource for people to go, and all the things I've been talking about today will be on that website and step 1 of his program. And David unfortunately had to go through chronic pain for many years and suffered lots, and he writes about this in his book and he talks about it on his radio show. But his website is phenomenal. It's like 20 years of collective evidence and experience all on there for free. So that's a wonderful place to go for more information.
Great resource, and I want to thank you very much for coming on the show, and I'd like you to come back.
Thank you.
Joining me is Canadian actor and singer Karen Holness, and she's here today to talk about her multi-talented career and how she maintains a healthy lifestyle. Welcome to the show, Karen.
Hi, so glad to be here.
Yes.
Thank you.
And we match.
Well, I know. Did we call each other, maybe?
Maybe. So you're an in-demand actor. How do you maintain a healthy lifestyle?
You really do have to commit to that. And the healthier that you can be as an actor, too, I think, the more it supports your art. Because there's so many demands with like the long hours on set, and the lots of lines to remember. And then it's not even when you're on set, too. It's like the auditions and different things like that. So I will definitely get to the gym, do my yoga. I'm a big meditator. So I find that really calibrates my brain and gives me that extra energy that I need for that little bit of extra dynamism, maybe. And then a couple key supplements that I know work really well. So
Yes. And so do you work out 3 times a week, or how does?
I try to do yoga almost every day. So whether it's 5 minutes or whether it's the full half hour, it's rare that I'll do a full hour of yoga, but I'll do like a half hour, and then ideally, depending on the week, I would be at the gym about 3 times a week.
Yes.
Yeah,
And
getting some cardio and some calisthenics.
Wow. Well, and it's very helpful for your overall health, mental health as well. And for being on set, how do you cope, or how do you eat healthy?
That's a big one. I mean, fortunately, the craft services department will have healthy choices. So there'll be fresh juices and fruit, things like that. So I try once. I mean, I try to cut that donut in half. I'm not gonna lie. I'm like, I'm just having half, okay? So, and I had fruit. So, healthy balance. But especially in the morning, like I'm very protective of my morning, so I'll make sure and have a lot of fruit and juice. And if I'm going to indulge in something a little sweet, it'll be more so in the afternoon after lunch. And even the catering department as well. They also have a lot of, everyone has vegan choices, vegetarian choices. Yeah.
Yes, that's wonderful. And so, Karen, which came first? Your acting? Was it singing? Or was it dance?
Well, it's like what level to answer that question on. I think on the medium level, it was definitely song and dance. I come from a West Indian background, and we have a lot of song and dance in our culture and in our home, always music playing. So that came first, and I was I started going to professional dance school when I was 15, and was in a performing arts high school as well, doing dance and drama and music. And then I took some classes at Second City Improv because they mentioned that if you do more improv, you actually are more equipped to book some commercials. So, I didn't really get into a serious acting class until later on, and then that's when I was like, oh, this is where I need to be. So it was clear that that was where I felt most of myself being applied to something.
Yes, and you were in Chicago, right?
The movie, yes. Yeah.
So tell us about that.
Ooh, what to tell you? It's always been one of my favorite musicals. Chicago, he had it coming. The Cell Block Tango. That's the number we were in. It was spectacular. The first day of rehearsal, we met in this huge soundstage in Toronto, and there's Catherine Zeta-Jones and everybody was there. 50 dancers. Richard Gere. It was extraordinary, and they had all departments come and do like a little presentation of what they had in mind for the show and how it was all going to come together. So it was just extraordinary to be part of that, and the rehearsal process, and Renee Zellweger like dropping into our chorus music ensemble rehearsal. Saying, "Hey guys, how's it going? Is it going good? Great." Yeah. It was lovely. It was like a little family. And you know what? Catherine Zeta-Jones did something that has stayed with me since that show. And there's a thing in theater where you give opening night gifts and cards and closing night gifts and cards. And she is from the West End in London, so she started out doing musicals and theater. And we just happened to start rehearsals in December, at the beginning of December. So she hand wrote to every person on the crew, and I don't know if you can look at how many people were in cast and crew, Christmas cards to everyone. And it was kind of like a Merry Christmas, a happy opening. We start shooting in January. So I just love that she carried that tradition forward into film and TV.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, very thoughtful.
And then, Karen, you come from a family of entertainers, right?
Yep.
So tell us about your background. I mean, your dad was a musician, right? Entertainer?
Dad just loved music. He wasn't into when we were leaving Jamaica when I was 5, I remember he had 2 suitcases he could bring, and one suitcase was full of 45s.
45.
45. Yeah. And he was crying that the other pile of music had to be left behind. So yes, dad was just, his love of music absolutely transcended, and to me for sure. And Deb and I, we were always dancing and singing. We just always were. I don't remember a day that we weren't dancing, singing. And so we'd be upstairs, and my favorite story to tell, we'd pick a song, choreograph it, take the vocal parts, put it together, rehearse the choreography, and then we'd run downstairs to my parents and say, we have a show. And they were so great that they would stop whatever they were doing. Mom would stop doing the dishes, Dad would turn the TV off, they'd sit on the couch and watch our little show. So yeah, we were doing it for a long time.
For a long time.
Yeah. And you know what? Here's something funny. Mom used to keep a book of, your favorite things, and what you want to be when you grow up. And every year, there's a page for each year. And every year, Deborah put down a singer, except for maybe 1 year, she put down a nurse, which was amazing. Me, every year, something different.
Oh,
Flight attendant, lawyer, doctor, like something different. So it was like, it's meant to do this.
that's wonderful. And when was your first acting role?
I guess the first actual credited role for the union was some sort. Well, Traders was up there in Toronto. The show that was shooting. I was quite young. Party girl on the boat, number 2. And then there was some silly Ministry of Health, the film or something. I don't know. Please don't find it. Please don't look it up. Please keep that buried.
You have about 100 credits, right?
Oh yeah.
My goodness.
How did that happen?
Multi-talented. But I want to talk about Always Be My Maybe.
So fun being a part of that cast. My goodness, what a collection of dynamic, amazing comedians. I love comedy. I love drama. I love sci-fi. So yeah, it's extraordinary being part of that. And of course, you wish that there was, I could have been, well, things get cut down. The movie was a lot longer, and so there was a lot of parts that were sort of shortened, but it was very fun being on set and being in the scenes with those people and all the ad libs. Yes.
And you
So fun.
play Kathy.
I play Kathy.
And you sing. Dinah Ross.
I don't get
You
to
don't?
sing, actually. But I do play the Diana Ross impersonator / Kathy. But, no, I never did.
Thanks for watching. If you have a question or comment about today's episode, go to our website on the screen. Until next time, run with it. Run With It is sponsored by BC Sports Hall of Fame, Leslie Diana, Dr. Wayne Phimister, and Mallory's Fashion Network.